You're in Thailand, your backpack is resting on the floor beside you, your phone is open in your hand and you're staring at 3 options that all promise the same thing, but deliver completely different experiences: a bus, a train, or a flight. At first, the decision seems simple, almost boring, because they all get you from point A to point B. But what most travelers don't realize until it's too late is that this single choice can quietly decide how tired you feel, how much money you lose, and whether the next few days of your trip feel exciting or completely drained. One option looks incredibly cheap, but slowly wears you down. Another sounds romantic and iconic, but can exhaust you if you choose wrong. And the third feels fast and efficient until you realize how much time it actually steals once you factor in everything around it. Most people don't understand this until they're already sitting in the wrong seat, stuck in traffic or lying awake somewhere at 3 a.m., wondering why they didn't think it through. So in this video, I'm breaking down bus versus train versus flight in Thailand, not with those dreamy travel blog fantasies, but with real-world costs, real comfort levels, real-time investment, and honestly, real consequences that affect your trip far more than you expect. Stay with me until the end, because the biggest mistake most travelers make doesn't actually happen during the journey, it happens right before they press the book button. Why does this decision matter more in Thailand than anywhere else? Well, Thailand looks pretty small on a map, but, distances here feel deceptively long once you're actually traveling, especially when routes like Bangkok to Chiang Mai, Bangkok to Phuket, or Bangkok to Krabi force you to choose between comfort, speed, and cost. This decision isn't just about transportation, because how you move between places directly affects your energy, your mood, and how much of Thailand you're actually able to enjoy once you arrive. Arrive exhausted, and even the most beautiful destination feels dull, but arrive rested and calm, and suddenly everything feels brighter, easier, and more memorable. The problem is that most travelers choose based only on price, and that's where everything quietly starts to fall apart. Option 1. The bus: cheap, available, and often misunderstood. The bus is usually the first option people notice because it's everywhere, it's easy to book, and the prices look almost too good to be true, often ranging from just a few dollars to around $15 for long-distance routes. At first glance, it feels like a smart, budget-friendly decision, especially if you're traveling long-term or trying to save money wherever you can. But here's where the tension begins, because buses in Thailand actually exist in 2 completely different worlds, and which one you experience depends entirely on what you book. On the good side, Thailand has surprisingly modern long-distance buses, especially VIP and first-class buses that offer reclining seats, air conditioning, blankets, snacks, and sometimes even onboard entertainment. On routes under 6 hours, these buses can be genuinely comfortable, affordable, and efficient, making them a solid option when you want to get somewhere without spending much money. In these situations, the bus feels like a hidden win that many travelers overlook. But the darker side of bus travel is what people don't talk about enough, because buses often stop multiple times, run overnight, when your body wants rest, arrive late without warning, and sometimes drop you far from the city center. You spend hours sitting upright, half sleeping, never fully resting, and when you finally arrive, you technically made it, but your body and mind feel like they're still somewhere on the road. For longer routes, especially overnight ones, the bus doesn't just take time, it quietly steals the energy you needed for the next day of your trip. And that's usually the moment when people start wondering if the train would have been better. Option 2. The train: romantic, iconic, and easy to get wrong. Trains in Thailand have a legendary reputation, often described as scenic, slow, and unforgettable, with many travelers calling them an experience rather than just transportation. Sometimes that reputation is deserved, because when trains are done right, they can be one of the most memorable parts of a trip. But other times, people are simply romanticizing discomfort because trains in Thailand vary wildly depending on class, route, and timing. There's something uniquely calming about watching Thailand change slowly through a train window, seeing cities fade into countryside villages appear and disappear, and landscapes shift in a way you never experience from a plane. Overnight sleeper trains allow you to lie flat sleep while you move and arrive early in the morning, having saved the cost of a hotel night, which is why routes like Bangkok to Chiang Mai are so popular by train. When everything goes right, the train feels like a smooth transition rather than a tiring journey. So, here's the part most travelers learn the hard way. If you choose the wrong class, the romance disappears instantly. Third-class or hard-seat trains are often crowded, noisy, hot, and uncomfortable, especially on long routes, and daytime trains can feel painfully slow when you're watching the hours pass. The real experience lives in the second-class sleeper, especially the lower berth, where you get privacy curtains, clean bedding, and enough space to actually rest. Upper berths are cheaper, but lower berths are the difference between waking up refreshed or completely exhausted. Trains are slow, and that's not a flaw, it's just how they are, so what matters is whether that slowness works with your schedule or against it. You know, overnight travel really turns that slowness into an advantage, since you can just sleep through the journey. But, daytime travel can definitely feel like lost time, especially if you're short on days. Trains, well, they reward patience and punish urgency, and honestly, understanding that makes all the difference. So, option 3, the flight fast, efficient, and, yeah, a little deceptive. Flights in Thailand are often shockingly cheap, with prices sometimes as low as $25 or $30, which makes them feel like the obvious choice, especially for those really long distances. But this is where the illusion begins, because flights are never just about the time in the air. That 1-hour flight quickly becomes much longer once you factor in getting to the airport, dealing with traffic, arriving early, passing security, waiting at the gate, landing, collecting bags, and traveling into the city. What looks fast on paper often turns into 5 or 6 hours of fragmented waiting, and unlike trains, you don't get meaningful rest during that time. So, budget airlines keep ticket prices low by, well, charging for pretty much everything else, like baggage, seat selection, food, and sometimes even the way you pay for your ticket. That cheap ticket can, quietly double in price if you're not careful, especially during those peak travel seasons. Flying is efficient, predictable, and controlled, but honestly, it's also pretty sterile. There's no scenery, no sense of place, and not much of a real memory beyond just getting from one airport to another. It works, but honestly, it rarely adds anything meaningful to your travel experience. Buses are the cheapest and, most available, but can be exhausting. Trains are scenic and restful when booked correctly, but they're slow, and flights are fast and reliable, but often cost more time and money than you might expect. None of these options are best by default, because, well, the right choice depends entirely on what you value most. So, you should choose the bus if you're on a tight budget, the route is relatively short, and you don't mind sitting upright for several hours. Choose the train if you want an experience, value rest, and are traveling overnight on a popular route with sleeper options. And you should choose the flight if time matters more than money, and you want predictability above all else. The mistake isn't really about choosing the wrong option, it's actually choosing without understanding the trade-offs. Here's the thing, the truth most travelers realize too late. People who fly rarely regret it, but honestly, they also rarely remember it. People who take buses often save money, but, well, sometimes they pay with exhaustion. People who take trains either love the experience or swear never to do it again, but they always remember it. And, memory is part of why we travel. There is no single best option because Thailand rewards travelers who choose intentionally rather than automatically. The smartest travelers use flights to protect their time, trains to deepen their experience, and buses to stretch their budget, often mixing all three throughout one trip. So, that's how you travel Thailand well. Before you book your next journey in Thailand, just ask yourself whether you want to arrive faster or travel better, because honestly, the answer will tell you exactly which option to choose. If this video helped you out, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share it with someone planning their Thailand trip right now. And hey, comment below whether you'd choose the bus, the train, or the flight. Because in Thailand, how you move really does change how you remember